Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome. Good to see you all. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, good. So thank you for joining again. Tonight, we'll continue with our study of Nectar of Instruction from the Bhakti Shastri course. We've covered the Ishopanishad, and we've covered so far in the Nectar of Instruction, verses 1, verses 2, and verses 3. And tonight, we'll do verse 4 and verse 5. So if you have any questions or comments as we go, you can please ask. So just to recap a little bit, in the Upadhyashamrita, in the Nectar of Instruction, Srila Rupa Goswami begins, the first two verses, deal with nivritti, or with negative injunctions, okay, things that we should not do. So the first verse speaks about the vegans, the urges, 6 urges that we have to control. We have to control the speech, the mind, anger, the tongue, the belly, and the genitals. These are the 6 urges to be controlled if you want to advance in Krishna consciousness. Then the second verse discusses 6 things which will destroy our bhakti, such as achahara, priyashash, over-endeavoring, overeating, accumulating more than necessary, and janasangash in particular, which discusses associating with materialistic people. This will destroy our bhakti. You won't be able to advance in Krishna consciousness. Then, verse 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are speaking about pravritti, or those things which are wanted, those things which are favorable to devotional service, those things which will help us to advance in our Krishna consciousness. So in verse 3, we hear about 6 positive qualities: utsahan, nischayad, daryad. You have to be enthusiastic. You have to be patient. You have to be confident or determined. You also have to associate with advanced devotees. You have to follow the regulative principles or the regulations of bhakti, the angas of bhakti, and you have to follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. That's how you advance in Krishna consciousness. So these first 3 verses are said to be the secrets for bhajan, or the secrets for sadhana, practicing. If you follow those 3 verses nicely, you will advance rapidly in Krishna consciousness. Now tonight we'll go into verses 4 and 5, which are also very important. The first 4 verses are your KMVs, your key memory verses. So please memorize them for your exam, which will be next week. No, I was joking. It's a little bit further down the train. Yeah. I just like to see you sweat. Those of you who have the camera on, I can see the sweat beads forming. Yeah. So please get your tissues and wipe your brow. So we will, tonight, we'll go into verses 4 and 5, which also discuss how to positively serve Krishna. Now, verse number 4, which is it's a very wonderful verse. They're all wonderful verses because there's only 11 verses in the Upadhyashamrita, and they take us from the beginning of spiritual life, controlling your senses, to the highest level of realization, which is your relationship with Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world. So, dadati pratigrinati bhuyam akyati prichchahati bhungte bojayate chaiva shad vidham priti lakshanam. This is the Sanskrit. The English translation: offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad and offering prasad are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. So, in order to advance in Krishna consciousness, we have to practice these 6 loving exchanges. We call them priti lakshanam. Priti means love. Love is the essence of existence. God, Krishna, is full of love. And because we are created in his image, we are also full of love. However, we repose the love in the wrong place at this point in time. Prabhupada explains this in the Nectar of Devotion, in the introduction, or the Gita. I'm just trying to think exactly where, but Srila Prabhupada explains that when you repose that loving tendency, which is within all of us have that propensity to love. But when you focus it on Krishna, it finds its right object, and you feel satisfied. And when we don't focus on Krishna in terms of reposing our love on Krishna, then we put it on other things, and they don't satisfy us. We've experienced this lifetime after lifetime. What's that verse? Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bija. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jeev. Brahmanda Brahmite means we've been wandering through the cycle, the samsara chakra, the cycle of birth and death for lifetimes. And as Prabhupada explains, we keep trying to repose that loving propensity onto so many other objects. And Madhvacharya, one of the great acharyas in our tradition, he says, since we came to this material world, we have cried an ocean of tears for things other than Krishna. So many lifetimes you have cried. So many things you have cried about. Unlimitedly. Lamenting. As Krishna says, na sochiti, na kankshati. Everyone in the material world hankers and laments, except for one who is self-realized. Na sochiti, na kankshati. He does not hanker, he does not lament. But everyone in the material world, they hanker and they lament, and they cry unlimited tears. But Madhvacharya says, did we ever cry one tear for Krishna? Because when we cry a tear for Krishna, then we will reach Krishna. That is the gateway to developing our love for Krishna, developing that propensity to cry for Krishna. As Gaur Govinda Swami, one of our great acharyas, taught us, he would always emphasize this point. We need to learn to cry for Krishna. So we have this propensity to love, but it's always misdirected to so many other objects. And that's why we're not satisfied in this material world. We only become satisfied when we direct that loving propensity towards Krishna. So this is called Priti Lakshan. Now, Prabhupada in the late 60s, Prabhupada began the Hare Krishna movement in America in 1965. So 1965 to say 69, if you read Prabhupada's letters to his early disciples, Prabhupada continuously quoted one phrase. He said, our movement will go on by love and trust. Prabhupada writes this a number of times in the letters in the late 60s. The movement will go on by love and trust. And as Prabhupada says in this purport, the life of the Krishna Consciousness Society is nourished by these 6 loving exchanges mentioned in this verse. Priti Lakshana. These are the emblems of how to exchange affection between the devotees. How do we show affection? And Prabhupada says, even in the purport, if you read the purport, Prabhupada says it's there in everything in life or in society. These 6 loving exchanges are all through society. Right? To give gifts, to receive gifts, to reveal the mind in confidence and to inquire confidentially, to offer prasadam and to receive prasadam, to offer food and to receive food. These are all through society. This is how people exchange love. Priti Lakshana. So Prabhupada says this movement will be nourished when these loving exchanges are there between the members. Prabhupada says if you do this in the society of devotees, you can fully revive your Krishna consciousness. Very powerful statement Prabhupada makes. Simply by reciprocating in these 6 ways, an ordinary person can fully revive his dormant Krishna consciousness. It's a very powerful statement. As Krishna says in the Adi Purana to Arjuna, one who says, he is my devotee, he is not my devotee. But one who says, he is the devotee of my devotee, he is my devotee. So if you worship Krishna's devotees, if you respect them, and if you offer loving exchange between the devotees in these 6 ways, you will nourish and revive your Krishna consciousness. It will come. So we look into the purport. Srila Prabhupada says, page 39, first paragraph. In this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami explains how to perform devotional activities in the association of the other devotees. When a devotee distributes prasad, remnants of food offered to the Supreme Person, in order to maintain our spirit of devotional service, we must accept this prasad as the Lord's grace received through the pure devotees. We should invite pure devotees into our home, offer them prasad, and be prepared to please them in all respects. So this is the loving exchange between the devotees. To offer prasad, to receive prasad. It says we should be always ready to receive prasad when it is offered by the devotees. Of course, we also have to be practical, because you might leave your body if you accept everything. Because, I went to visit His Holiness Radhanath Swami one time in, would have been 1999 or 2000. Yeah, I was in Mumbai at his temple, the Chowpatty temple, Radha Gopinath temple. And I just come from Vrindavan and I had some prasadam from Vrindavan. And one of the devotees said, come and see Maharaj, have darshan with Maharaj. So I went to visit him and I offered him some prasadam from Vrindavan. And when I offered it to him, he just took like a morsel, like a little, tiny little bit, like a little crumb, put it into his mouth, honored the prasadam, respected the prasadam. But he didn't eat the whole thing. And when I looked on his shelf, he said, oh, at least 6 other people have been here today and they've all offered me prasadam. And he said, if I eat everything which is offered to me, I'm not a deity. I'm not a Archa Vigraha. I'm not the form of God. God himself offers is offered a lot every day. It's like if you go to the Melbourne temple, for example, 7 offerings a day. So you see the plates which are offered to Krishna. Krishna eats 7 times. So if I ate everything that Krishna was offered in one day, all the milk sweets on one plate, the fruit offering, and then the breakfast, which is puri, sabji, halava, pakora, and then Rajbog, all his lunch, then the other fruit offering at 4 o'clock, and then his sweets and his savories at 7 o'clock, and then 9 o'clock puri and sabji with laddu and milk. That would be an interesting day. And I could do it. One day I could do it. But the second day, if I did it, I know what would happen. I'd start feeling sick after the first, because I'd just fast the next day, if that's how I'd respond, if I had to do it. So Krishna can do it, but we cannot do it. So it says, whenever a devotee offers you prasadam, you must accept it. It means maybe just take a morsel. I mean, it depends on the circumstance. If you haven't eaten that day and you're hungry, then take everything. Eat as much. Like yesterday or a couple of days ago, devotees were here. They said, come and take prasadam. So, take. If you're hungry, and then, take. I was fasting on that particular day, which was, I think, Krishna's arrangement, because Mani Riva Prabhu said that the prasadam is very hot. And so maybe Krishna saved me on that occasion. So, as Prabhupada says, that we must offer prasad to the devotees. So it's a loving exchange. In particular, if you remember that a devotee likes some particular type of prasadam, and you offer that prasadam to the devotee, then you'll capture the devotee's heart. Like I'm very fond of particular sweets, shrikand, gulab jamun, particular sweet I'm very fond of. So sometimes, the devotees, they remember, such and such likes this, and they offer it to you. And it endears you to the devotees. It's a loving exchange. Prabhupada says, nourishes the devotional relationships between the devotees. Prabhupada said it's so powerful, it can revive your dormant Krishna consciousness just by practicing these loving exchanges between the devotees. We offer the prasadam and we receive it. Receive it graciously and always honor it according to time, place, and circumstance. If you can honor it all, honor it all. If you cannot because of health reasons, then just take a little bit and honor it. And to offer the prasadam, like if you cook something nice for the pleasure of the devotees, it's a loving exchange. It's a way to endear the devotees, a way to serve the devotees. So that's the way that we exchange love, as Prabhupada is explaining here in the program. So then we go to the top of page 40, Prabhupada says, thus, whenever there is a dealing of priti or love in intimate dealings, these 6 activities are executed. At the bottom of the page, he says, the life of the Krishna Consciousness Society is nourished by these 6 types of loving exchanges between the members. Therefore, people must be given the chance to associate with the devotees of ISKCON, because simply by reciprocating in the 6 ways mentioned above, an ordinary man can fully revive his dormant Krishna consciousness. A very powerful statement. We have to give people the opportunity, just like this Saturday. We're going to Ocean Grove, very holy place, because there are some great devotees living there. It's a very holy place. So we go there every year. They invite us, and we distribute prasadam. And Srila Prabhupada says people must be given this opportunity to receive Krishna's prasadam. In particular, devotees often cite that Prabhupada said Australia, because in different parts of the world, Prabhupada said that the Krishna consciousness movement will spread through different means. But in Australia, apparently, he emphasized prasadam, the holy food, because it will purify. And it does, you see. Like in Australia, we're famous for the prasadam. Famous. Like the devotees were at the Meredith Festival, the rock festival, a few weeks back, and they sold $30,000 of prasadam in a few days. And the New Govardhan devotees were just at Woodford, the Woodford Festival. I think last year they made like $80,000 in 5 days or something. People love our prasadam. They love the holy food. So they must be given the opportunity to receive prasadam because it purifies the consciousness of the living entity and it develops an affinity for the Krishna consciousness movement. People say every time that we do prasadam distribution, every time they say, I've been waiting 1 year for you guys. Every time someone says, or several people say, we've been waiting a whole year. And I always say to them, well, just come to our farm. It's only 1 hour's driving. You can have it whenever you want. You don't have to wait. But we have to give people this opportunity. It's a way of purifying people and allowing them to nourish their Krishna consciousness. Because prasadam purifies the brain, the physical brain, and also the mind and the intelligence, and allows us to be able to understand the Krishna conscious philosophy. So you must take prasadam. We see it ourselves when we take prasadam, our consciousness becomes purified. So further down, closer to the bottom of page 41, since Krishna consciousness is inherent in every living entity, everyone should be given a chance to hear about Krishna. Simply by hearing and chanting Shravanam, Kirtanam, one's heart is directly purified, and one's original Krishna consciousness is immediately awakened. So, Rupa Goswami says, Dadati pratigrinati, you should give charity and you should receive gifts. We should give gifts. It's a way of showing love. We give gifts. And we should receive gifts. It's a way of showing priti lakshana, that you care about someone. You give them a gift. And then you receive a gift graciously. In this way, we show love. Now, Prabhupada explains, he's saying here, actually, what is the greatest gift you can give someone? What is the best gift you can give someone, according to what Prabhupada's explaining in the purport? Yeah, Krishna Consciousness Association. Yeah. Specifically, he's targeting Shravanam and Kirtanam, giving people the opportunity to hear and chant about Krishna, which is what we do. We distribute prasadam. We distribute the holy name, an opportunity to hear, and we invite others to chant, like our good friend Harinamananda Prabhu, who has been for the last 11 years traveling non-stop around the world, distributing the holy name of Krishna, Harinam Ruchi, his party, Harinam party, Sankirtan party. And they sent a video. He sent me a video a few days ago. It goes for about 15 minutes up on the Gold Coast. They try to go there every year for the schoolies program. When the kids finish school, they all congregate in different places. One place they go to is the Gold Coast, Surfers Paradise. So the devotees go there every year, and every night they chant for hours and hours. And they get all the kids involved in chanting the names of Krishna. And the kids chant very enthusiastically. So as Prabhupada's explaining, this is the best gift you can give someone is Krishna consciousness. You give them the holy name. Give them the opportunity to hear about Krishna. Krishna says at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, no one is more dear to me than one who teaches others this message. This is the best gift. I remember a few years ago, Buru Jampuru was staying here, and it happened to be my birthday on that particular day. And it was a Monday, so I went to Melbourne to teach the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I went to say goodbye to Buru Jampuru and said, I'm going to Melbourne for a couple of days. So I went to him and I said, oh, it's my birthday today. Please bless me, which is our custom, our culture. We try to get blessings from a advanced devotee. So I went to him and I said, please bless me. And I said, I'm going to Melbourne to teach the Bhagavatam. And he said, this is the greatest gift, because in our culture, on our birthday, we give gifts. That's more the culture. In the modern culture, birthdays, we get in the mentality of receiving. Oh, everyone will give me presents. And then we get disappointed because we don't get what we want. Happens so many times. So we should give up that mentality, but rather on our birthday, we should be in the mood of giving to others. So he said to me, that is the best way to spend your birthday, to give the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam to others. So I prayed for his blessings. Please bless me on this day. And he said, this is the best way to spend your day. So we should give the opportunity for others to hear and to chant. That is the best gift. But it also means physical gifts as well. It's very nice to give the devotees a gift, physical gift. You know, we all do that. Sometimes we give gifts to each other and we receive gifts. My guru, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, one day he was explaining to us that actually, because he received a lot of gifts, because when you're a guru, people give you gifts all the time, everywhere you go. And he said actually one time, he said, actually it's harder to receive the gifts than it is to give them. It's actually harder because, you know, we think, oh, actually it's easier to receive it. Not when you're getting it all the time. You're not like every day, you know, wherever it goes, every day people are giving something. And he said it's actually difficult because you have to be gracious and you have to make the person feel satisfied when they receive the gift. So it means you have to be, you know, in a good state of consciousness all the time. Because people, they feel very disappointed. You know, they give you a nice gift, and you just, because, you know, you just got 10 gifts in the last 5 days. You say, oh, that's nice, another gift. But no, you have to make them feel great. You have to be gracious. That's why it says, give charity, but also receive it. Pratigrinati means you have to receive it consciously and graciously. And I remember one devotee, she was a Russian devotee. She lived in Melbourne for a while. And she was an amazing seamstress. And she embroidered Lord Nrsimhadev on a bead bag. And she gave it to my Guru Maharaj as a gift. And it was beautiful. Like, it was perfect. She was so talented. Looked exactly like the picture. That picture there of Nrsimhadev. His head. It was perfect. Beautiful. And then he came back to Melbourne 1 year later, because he used to come every June. He came back 1 year later and he had that bead bag. He was chanting on his beads in that bead bag that she'd given him 1 year ago. And then he remembered who gave it to him. And then when he saw her, he just started chanting. He held his bead, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Just so, and she started crying. Right? He captured her heart. Because that is the dati pratigrinati, loving exchange between the devotees. Yeah, he could have just got that bead bag and gifted it to someone else, or but he remembered. So this is how we capture the hearts of the devotees, by these loving exchanges which are there. Mm. On page 43 at the bottom, if one really wants to attain the goal of human life, he should associate with devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement because it is the only movement that teaches one how to develop love of God. So Prabhupada is emphasizing the next two items. So we give gifts, we receive gifts. We give prasadam, we receive prasadam. And then we reveal our mind in confidence and we inquire confidentially. These two loving exchanges are very powerful if we learn to do these things. Inquire confidentially to the devotees. In other words, develop loving, as Prabhupada says, this movement goes on by love and trust. So we have to develop the type of character that other devotees will trust us, so that they will want to reveal, or they feel they can reveal their mind in confidence to us. Actually, that is the greatest service you can render to the devotees. You know, if they can feel trust in you, they can reveal their mind in confidence. And we need to inquire confidentially to the devotees. We need to be able to say to the devotees, you know, how are you? Do you need anything? But in such a way that the devotees feel we actually mean it, or we actually want to help them, assist them, or serve them. Because people say it all the time. Like I was at the dentist a couple of weeks ago, and the lady came out, the dental assistant, and she said, you know, please come. So I got up and I started following her to the room to, you know, have the checkup. And then she said, how are you? Because that's what everyone says in the world. How are you? How are you going? How are you, mate? Everyone says, all day everyone says. But the way I spoke to her was not like, you know, just like, because she said, oh, I'm good. Like that. No, I said something, I can't remember what I said, but I just said it in such a way and it struck her. She kind of looked at me. She thought, oh my God, we're about to have a deep conversation. You know, because you're not supposed to do that. Or normally we don't do that. Normally we just say, hey, you going? You can say, oh, I'm good. Or you can say, oh, I feel like jumping off a cliff. And people say, oh, that's nice. You know, it's like people don't really listen to each other. Everything is very superficial, very artificial. That's the way the world has become. But if you can actually, at least with the devotees, if you can inquire confidentially and reveal your mind in confidence, it's such a deep way to form loving exchanges between the devotees. It nourishes. And then we have to be very careful that the devotees trust us. In other words, when they tell you something, don't go and start telling everyone else. This is a defect of the modern age. You know, people can't keep confidence. You say something, then they go and start telling others. And then people, they cannot trust. So therefore we have to be confidential so that people can trust us confidentially. So these are the 6 loving exchanges. Does anyone have any points, questions or comments so far? So now text number 5. Text number 5 is also very important because Rupa Goswami has taken our entire Krishna conscious philosophy and he's placed it within 11 verses. So each verse is extremely important. So in verse 5, Rupa Goswami begins to emphasize that if emphasizes or analyzes the 3 levels of devotees. There are 3 levels of devotees. You need to learn these. It'll probably be on your exam, actually. You need to learn the 3 levels of devotees, which are Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. The word Adhikari means qualification. Like in India, whenever you meet someone, they say, what is your qualification? What is your qualification? You're from India. What is your qualification? First, what is your name? What is your qualification? Adhikar means qualification. What is that qualification? But in this respect, it doesn't mean your job or your vocation. It means how advanced are you spiritually? Are you Kanishta, Madhyama, or Uttama Adhikari? What is your qualification? So, Prabhupada says in the purport that in order to intelligently apply the 6-fold loving exchanges, so in verse 4, we learn the 6 ways to reciprocate or lovingly exchange with devotees. Now, in this verse, it teaches us how do we understand the different levels of devotees, because you will reciprocate with devotees according to their level. And we need to understand this if we want to advance in Krishna consciousness. Because if we don't understand how to reciprocate with other devotees according to their level of advancement, it'll be very difficult for us to advance in Krishna consciousness. When it comes to, this will be explained in the verse, when it comes to reciprocating with devotees, those devotees who are less advanced than us, we have to know which devotees are less advanced than us in their spiritual life, in their Krishna consciousness. Because people who are less advanced, we have to help them, assist them to rise up and become Krishna conscious. So you have to know, because if someone's less advanced and you don't help them, you're not acting properly as a devotee. If someone's on an equal level, we have to make friends with them. We have to lovingly exchange with them. Right? We have to develop friendships with them. And if someone is more advanced, then we have to serve them and inquire submissively. So you have to know. If you don't know who's more advanced, who's less advanced, who's the same, it'll be very difficult for you to advance in Krishna consciousness because you don't know how to interact with other devotees properly. So I'll read the verse. Krishneti yasha giri tam manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranati bish chabhajantam isham sushushaya bhajana vigyam ananyam anya nindari shunya hridam ipsita sanga lapya. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of the Lord, of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. So these are 3 levels. We have to know who is less advanced, who is the same, who is more advanced than us. We have some indications here. Rupa Goswami has very succinctly given some indications. The Uttama Adhikari is being described, right? Someone who is very advanced in spiritual life. He's being described. So there are 3 ways to understand or ascertain someone else's advancement in Krishna consciousness? What are the three ways that we ascertain who is more advanced? Oh, sorry, not just who, less advanced, the same, or more advanced. What are the three criteria? Yeah, no, that's right. That's the Kanishta. But what are the three ways that we understand who's more advanced, who's less, and who's below? The first one is chanting. How do they chant the holy name of Krishna? Right? How they chant, that's how we understand who's more advanced or less advanced. The second way is Shraddha, or faith. Who has more faith? Because the advanced devotee has a great amount of faith, the neophyte devotee doesn't have very much faith. And the third way is realization. Realization means, how do they reciprocate with others? How do they treat others? What is their realization? These are the three ways that we understand who is less advanced or more advanced. So the first criteria is chanting. Someone who is not so advanced in Krishna consciousness, what we call a Kanishta Adhikari. This term Kanishta Adhikari means a neophyte devotee, or a devotee who has materialistic consciousness, right? Who is materialistic in their consciousness, not so advanced in Krishna consciousness. It's called Kanishta Adhikari. So someone who is Kanishta Adhikari, their chanting may be full of offenses. They may commit, and there's 10 offenses in chanting the holy name. We say that after Mangalarti every day. The 10 offenses in chanting: to blaspheme the devotees, to dedicate their lives, propagating the holy name of the Lord. The different offenses that we chant. So the Kanishta Adhikari, he may commit those offenses, may not be so good at chanting, which means if you're good at chanting, you don't commit the offenses. If you're not so good at chanting, then you commit offenses. So the Madhyam Adhikari means, Madhyam means middle. Like in India, you have Madhya Pradesh. You're from Madhya Pradesh? No? Where are you from? Chandigarh. Uttar Pradesh. Punjab. Oh, it's that far up, is it? Oh, is that Punjab? Oh, I didn't realize it's so far. Okay. Punjab, okay. Chandigarh. Yeah, I have quite a few friends from Chandigarh. So it's in Punjab, north. Uttar means higher. Uttar Pradesh, like the higher part. And Madhya means Madhya, like the middle part, the middle of India. And then south you have Kerala, and you have these different, like Tamil Nadu. So you have the different levels. So Madhya means middle, like Madhya Lila, middle pastimes. So Madhya means the middle. Tanu Madhya, these different names are there. Madhya means middle. So Madhyama Adhikari means the middle class devotee. What is his Adhikari's qualification in chanting? He chants without offense. It is called Namabas. Namabas means sometimes he might commit the offenses, but he tries very hard to avoid the offenses while chanting. That is called a Madhyama Adhikari. Very good if you can chant like that. And then we have the highest type of devotee, who is called the Uttama Adhikari. What is his chanting like? When he chants, others feel inspired to chant just in his association. Right? You might have met devotees like this. You're around them, you just want to chant. They just make you chant. I remember when I first met my guru, and I traveled with him around Australia, and I was a brahmachari, and I remember one time at New Govardhan, we went to Mangalarti. He was staying up at now the house on the hill. I don't know what they call it now, but the Bhakti guest house. Yeah. So he was staying up there. There used to be the guru's accommodation. So he was staying up there, and then we were driving back up. And I remember, just by being, he was in the front seat, I was in the back seat. Just by being near him, I just started chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Just when you're with an advanced devotee in Uttama Adhikari, you just want to chant. That's how we understand who is an Uttama Adhikari. It's just in their association, you want to chant. You feel inspired to chant. Like with Srila Prabhupada, it was like that. Burajambaru told us when we were in Govardhan a few weeks back. He said that one time he was with Prabhupada on a plane. They had to fly somewhere. So he was sitting next to Prabhupada on the plane, and one devotee, obviously nervous to be traveling with Prabhupada. And one devotee said to him, I think he asked, what should I do? I'm going to be with Prabhupada on the plane. And the devotee said, just chant the whole time, just chant. So that's what he did. The whole time he was on the plane with Prabhupada, just chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And then Prabhupada actually said when they get off the plane, he said to another devotee, he said, this boy, Burajamba, is very good. He is always chanting. Very good. Always chanting. Very good. Because that's what we should do. When you're with an advanced devotee, you should chant. And when you're with a not advanced devotee, you should chant. And when you're with a middle class devotee, you should chant. Kirtanya ha sada hari, Lord Chaitanya says. Chant the holy names of Krishna. So that's the first way that we can define who is more advanced and who is less advanced. By chanting. The second way is by faith, Shraddha. A Kanishta Adhikari, the lower level devotee, he has faith in the deity, in Krishna, and the Guru, but he may not have so much faith in others, his faith is not strong. He can be easily swayed. Right? His faith can be easily swayed. And you see this in different ways. Devotees who aren't very strong, their faith is easily swayed. 1 minute they're practicing, they're really sitting, the next minute they're off doing something else. We've seen it many times. If someone is not steady in Krishna consciousness, that means their faith is not strong. They practice really enthusiastically for a few months, and then they're off doing, you hear about them, and they're not even in the movement anymore, and they're off doing something, engaged in sense gratification. Not very strong faith. Not very advanced in Krishna consciousness. It's not a symptom of advancement. Krishna consciousness. So the faith is weak. It is malleable. When someone is a Majjhima Adhikari, his faith is very strong. He will not leave Krishna consciousness. He will stay fixed in Krishna consciousness. But it is explained, he may not be able to substantiate his practice by citing Shastra or Scripture. He may not be able to explain, based on the Scripture, the exact places in the Scripture where which substantiate what he is doing. He knows he should be a devotee, and he's very fixed, but he may not be able to quote, it says here in the Bhagavad Gita, I should be doing this, or Nectar of Devotion. So he may not be so learned. But still, that he's considered Majjhima Adhikari. His faith is strong. And the Uttama Adhikari is very advanced. His faith is unshakable, but it can also substantiate everything according to the Shastra. Right? A good example that I can think of is Shivaram Swami. So learned. Incredible. I read his books. They're just so incredible. He's so incredibly learned. Like the way he can bring so much evidence from so many different sources. I wouldn't even know where to find these things. If someone said to me, where do I find this point or where do I find that point? I couldn't tell you all these things. He brings from so many different places, so many references to his points. And his faith is so strong. So that is an Uttama Adhikari. You have a question? Latoya, you have a question? You're on mute. Can you unmute? Okay. If you unmute, I can answer the question. So this is the Uttama Adhikari. The faith is very strong. Kanishta Adhikari not so strong. Majjan, very strong. Uttama Adhikari, it's unshakable. The third way to understand how advanced someone is called realization. By their chanting, by their faith, and by their realization. Realization means, how do they reciprocate with others? And you study, when you see other devotees, you can see how advanced they are by how they reciprocate with other devotees. A Kanishta Adhikari doesn't know how to deal with other devotees. They respect the guru, they respect the deity, but they can't treat the other devotees properly. That's called Kanishta Adhikari. We see sometimes devotees are like that. Very respectful to the guru, very respectful to the Krishna, to the deity, but can't treat the other devotees well. Then there is the Majjhima Adhikari. What is his realization? His realization is he knows how to deal with the other devotees. So those devotees who are less advanced, he helps them become Krishna conscious. Those devotees, or actually, we'll begin even before, the non-devotees, those who are envious, he avoids them. Sometimes you meet people, they're very critical. They're very critical of Krishna or Krishna's devotees. We just avoid them. Sorry, no time. Offer them respect and just don't associate with them. Those who are non-devotees but who are innocent and not envious, we give them the opportunity to take up Krishna consciousness. We give them prasadam, the holy name, in Prabhupada's books. Then there is the devotees who are less advanced than us, we give them mercy. Devotees who are equal to us, a Majjhima Adhikari, he makes friends. The devotees who are more advanced, he serves them and inquires from them. So a Majjhima Adhikari knows how to deal with all the different levels. Prabhupada expected that everyone in the Hare Krishna movement, the Krishna consciousness movement, should be a Majjhima Adhikari. Means we should know how to deal with others. We know how to deal with all the others. Someone who's more advanced, we know how to deal with them. Right? Someone who's less advanced, who's equal, non-devout, we know how to deal. That's a symptom of advancement. Prabhupada expects us to be on that level. And then the Uttama Adhikari, what is his realization? Sometimes it's described, he's so advanced, he just sees everyone as being like a pure devotee of Krishna. That's how pure and exalted and advanced he is. So he just offers respect to everyone. Now, Prabhupada was obviously an Uttama Adhikari, an Uttama Bhagavat, a pure devotee, very exalted devotee. But Prabhupada explains that sometimes the Uttama Adhikari comes down to the Majjhima Adhikari to preach and to teach others. Because if he's on the Uttama Adhikari platform, if he's holding that realization, he won't differentiate. He'll just say, well, everyone is a devotee. But to give people Krishna consciousness in this world, you have to differentiate, you have to discriminate. So that's why we need to come to the platform of Majjhima Adhikari, because we need to discriminate. Who's more advanced, who's less advanced, who's the same, who's envious, so that we don't commit offenses. Does anyone have any points or questions?
What does Uttama translate to?
Uttama literally means high. Yeah, Uttama. Like topmost or high. Uttama. Uttama. That means like beyond ignorance or very high. Okay, so in the purport, Prabhupada explains that very nicely. He says, in order to intelligently apply these sixfold loving exchanges, one must select proper persons with careful discrimination. So in the previous verse, we had the 6 loving exchanges. Now you need to know how to apply the 6 loving exchanges, right? According to people's advancement in their Krishna consciousness. So it's very important. And Prabhupada explains, a devotee should also know his position so he doesn't try to imitate a higher platform. We have to know where we stand as a devotee, so we don't try to imitate something we are not. And sometimes we might think, oh, I'm more advanced than what I am. And then we commit offenses to others. Oh, I'm very advanced. You should serve me. Prabhupada actually said that. He wrote to one devotee, he said, I am Prabhupada, my title is Prabhupada. And we should see all the others as Prabhu, master. And then Prabhupada means the master at whose feet all the other masters sit. Prabhupada was the teacher of, he said, we should see everyone as Prabhu. We should call each other Prabhu. Prabhu means master. Because then we are in the right consciousness. We should see the other devotees as Prabhu, as master. We should be the servant of the other devotees. That's the correct consciousness. It's quite a long purport. At the end, page 57, at the bottom, Prabhupada says, when a person realizes himself to be an eternal servitor of Krishna, he loses interest in everything but Krishna's service. Always thinking of Krishna, devising means by which to spread the holy name of Krishna, he understands that his only business is in spreading the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Such a person is to be recognized as an Uttama Adhikari, and his association should be immediately accepted according to the 6 processes. So Prabhupada's speaking about advanced devotees, and he's also speaking about himself. That our movement expands when we serve Prabhupada. When we engage in service to Prabhupada, that's how our movement becomes successful, and that's how it expands. So I'll stop there. Does anyone have any final questions or comments on what we have discussed? Hare Krishna, Maha Mantra. Everybody in the universe, chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you all for coming. Next week, Hare Bol. Next week we will continue, I think, with verses 6 and 7. For those who are available, then please be there. Those who are not available, you can come online if you like, or you can catch up. We'll record it. The recordings will come out hopefully in the next couple of days on the previous classes and on this class. Beneet Prabhu has been overseas, so he's only just got back. So he said he will launch the recordings in the next couple of days. So Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
One more point.
Sorry, I was going to ask, are you able to do recordings as well of the...
You have to remind me. This kind of reminder I've said does not work. Yes. Yeah.
What was the question?
The question was, can I record the key memory verses and upload them for the benefit of everyone? So I'll do that
Gotcha.
if I'm reminded. Hare Krishna. We'll see you next week.
Hare
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Please come
Thank
again.
you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
See you soon.
God bless you all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Happy New Year.
Haribol!
Hare Bol.